Hello, everyone. Hello, Tuna. Yes, we did skip last week. And hello, Albania. Over on the XP watching. Oh, yes, have a narcissistic tantrum. Yes, we can't mention him though, because he's definitely not watching. For us to mention him. So, but yeah, last week it was Labor Day holiday in the U.S. for us, and so I was out of town, and I was thinking of just like doing it from my phone, but unfortunately, I wouldn't have been able to make it at the time. So just kind of gave everyone. I gave everyone like late notice because I thought I was going to maybe try it. Then I decided, okay, it would have been too difficult, at
It,
least on my part.
it worked out well
So,
for me as well, I gotta say,
oh,
because I'm
good.
like, oh, I really don't have time for that today. I'm so freaking busy, and like, it's cancelled today. Woohoo!
It's kind of like having like a snow day for school.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have my homework done.
Woohoo!
Oh no, there's no school tomorrow.
What I used to have when I was a kid wasn't snow days, even though it got massively cold enough where I came from that like to get down below -10 Celsius. So I lived in far north Queensland, which is up in the tropical part of the world, but I lived in a place that had high altitude um, and a desert climate. So as a result, you got extremely cold during the winter nights. But yeah, I used to get the equivalent of snow days in summer when we got a heap of rain. The I lived in a loop of a river, and there were two ways out of where I was, and the river cut both of them. And I'm like, oh, hey, don't have to go to school. The alternative is to wade across a flooded causeway, and you just go, it's probably not ideal.
Well,
So
I
that
did
was mine.
yeah, I felt a little bad about not doing it because I don't think we ever like skipped a week since we started the
Yeah,
weekly
it is.
thing.
It has been, yeah, not one, but oh well.
Which is,
Can't have everything.
which is pretty, I mean, I think notable.
Yeah, it's good.
The fact that we had kind of an uninterrupted run there. But yeah, but we're back this week, and obviously we have Neo and Blarg. And look, Craig Kelly. Hello.
Hey.
What is the difference between Jesus and a picture of Jesus? It takes one nail to hang a picture. Heard this one a few days ago. Oh,
Nice.
Craig. Always like making fun of Christianity. Yes, they really are stuck on that gametes thing. So, yeah, before the show started, backstage, we were talking a little bit. Neither Blarg nor I have been looking at the comments. So I just started looking at it right as we got on. And yeah, it was just like the comments are just full of little, pirate notes. Did you like us using categories to show lack of binary? Yeah, this whole idea, like, because there are two categories, things must be binary. And just the inability to understand that point is just astounding. I,
You
I
get
mean, it's got to be
98%
some
in
kind
two
of in a
categories, then 2% will fit into a third or fourth or fifth. It's basic maths.
Yeah, it's a little
yeah.
bit
I
like
like
Statistic.
a computer that it can be one or zero or something else. And you go, if your computer is going to deliver a something else, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I think John was the one who came up with the faucet thing. Like, oh, there can only be two temperatures of water because you have a hot and a cold water faucets. just because you have the categories hot and cold doesn't mean that water can only be, either hot or either cold. So just because that there are two categories of sex, that doesn't mean everything falls in a binary way into those categories. But uh, the whole point is like people who bring up this, oh, sex is binary. Ultimately, they're trying to get to their, the anti-trans bigotry. But some people just, I don't know if they're just ashamed of their own bigotry, but they just don't take it to that. So all they do is sit there and make comments about, oh yes, there are two sexes. Okay, yes, so and also, mammalian sex is apparently dioecious. So he's really still trying to make that happen. Dioecious, make it happen. The topic today is actually a topic that Ook had
A little
sent via
Q-tip meeting.
email. Despite not showing up yet, I presume he's going to show up at some point. But he
He's
wanted to
good like
talk
that.
about, what was that?
He's good like that.
Yeah.
Throw a topic in and then just wander along anytime he feels the urge.
Right.
He's
Yeah, so the topic is about hate laws, hate speech laws, I should say. And I guess we can kind of talk in general about free speech and free speech laws.
yeah.
I think that's where you wanted to get to, Blurg.
Yeah, so just say g'day to Tuna. Yeah, no, mate, I've been absolutely smash and busy this week, so have not had a chance to even look at the comments once, um, which it's a little bit, starting to get a little bit of an itch. So I was happy that we were actually on this weekend rather than last weekend. Yeah, was a miss out, but yeah, it's good to be back on with the Q-tips.
Love that name.
It is
Uh,
good.
Was it Tuna you
So
went
yeah.
with it?
So I think the point you wanted to make, Blurg, is that there is no such thing as free law. Free
that's free
speech, I should say.
free speech.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's exactly it. Nobody. There's all these people who claim to be free speech absolutists, and then unsurprisingly, the moment something is said that's in the opposite direction to something they like, all of a sudden you're like, oh no, you can't say that. You should, cancel Jimmy Kimmel because he said something a couple of days in advance of a thing, and yeah, the reality is you can't bring up a school and say that there's a BOMB in the school. Um, the police are going to come after you, um, and nobody is going to have a problem with that. That's you think, oh well, I've got free speech. I should be able to say anything I want. Yeah, no, you don't. You've got people are not going to accept it, and there's no such thing as free speech absolutism. Hey, Hardy.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's such a there's a noticeable difference now for free speech in UK and in the US. And I think a lot of people are kind of point to the UK, what they're doing against, I should say. I mean, I don't know as much of the details, obviously. So Neil, feel free to chime in here. But if it seems like they are cracking down a little bit more on and putting
There's,
more limits on what can be said in public, right?
there's always been hate speech in the UK.
Yeah,
The well, Scotland recently updated theirs, but in England and Wales, hate speech comes under the Public Order Act 1986. So it's been 40 years that we've had hate speech in our laws.
But is it
It's
is
just that
it a straw man to say that in UK you post something uh, that might be, let's say, objectionable by some people on Twitter,
I'll
and
put the
then they
wording
come and
actually up.
arrest you?
There's a
I've got the
difference
wording in
between
front of me.
objectionable though and hate speech. Like
Yeah.
I think in Australia, hate speech
Wait,
is
wait, wait.
usually
What about if if I said that some platform should not have someone on because I don't personally agree with that? Is that considered free speech, or is that me deplatforming
that's
someone?
deplatforming. That's
Oh,
definitely
that's right.
deplatforming. Oh
That's
no,
definitely deep. Okay, all right. Yeah, so I guess they should arrest me if I say that someone should not uh, be a guest in a certain platform, right?
yeah, you should be put in jail.
Yeah,
Be terrible.
it's that's considered deplatforming. Apparently, when I express my opinion, that's called deplatforming.
And you're not allowed to express that opinion. You should be
Yeah, and I'm
deplatformed
not
for
allowed to
doing it.
express an opinion. Yes,
Yeah,
I did hear some people do not consider uh, that I should be allowed to express that type of opinion, as long as it's
funny.
about a platform. But it's okay if they block me from that platform. That's not that's free speech, right? Because they are allowed to block me. I just can't express an opinion that someone should not be a guest. I don't know how
Def-
that works, but apparently in the U.S., some people think that, especially people who can't open pickle jars. I'm not sure if anyone understands what I'm
de-
getting at. Maybe Hardy
Deplatformed.
might
I
know.
definitely do. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, look,
FYI, and for those of you listening, Hardy made some, tried to white knight our Andrew Wilson because we do have to, uh, we do have to protect those people who with weak wrists who can't open pickle jars. So
that's true. Yeah,
soda has a
but
sledgehammer, which is what Andrew Wilson used to open a stuck pickle jar. So. Anyway, yeah, sorry. I
yeah,
saw Hardy and I had to kind of rib him a little bit because
yeah.
sometimes he can be a little bit
De-
hypocritical. So, uh,
Deflatformed.
yeah.
Is that
And
is that moving from 2D to 3D?
wait, what is that?
Yeah, well, deflatformed is what Hardy wrote.
Oh,
You just go, well,
deplatformed.
yeah. So if you're flatformed and you become deflatformed,
Yeah, I guess if you're
yeah,
deflatformed, then you're becoming 3D. So,
yeah. If you've um, managed to gain extra elements to your personality. But yeah, I think the gist in the hate speech laws is it has to be more than just having a shitty opinion that pisses people off. Like you can have an opinion that you know what you want about various people, but if you're saying that certain things should happen to people because of race or ethnicity or language or religion or whatever it happens to be, that you're advocating for harm to come to
yeah.
them, then yeah, you've stepped over a line that is unreasonable.
Yeah, but I think the concern with that is, and I'm playing a little bit of a devil's advocate here for, because I think a lot of people bring up UK and kind of what they're doing with that with their laws. That it's not, it, it is subject to interpretation whether that quote unquote speech is advocating some harm or not. Right. That's where the kind of the opinions come into play.
Our laws have the phrase "stir up religious hatred" or "stir up racial hatred," um,
It's a vague
which
as
can be
fuck
interpreted
term.
broadly.
Yeah, which then ends up having to go to the courts to put some boundaries around what the hell that means, because yeah, you just go along and say, oh well, Christians are wankers. Oh no, you're stirring up racial hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Go, eh.
There
um,
is there's a paragraph they've got in there which it says nothing in this part shall be read or given effect in a way which prohibits or restricts discussion, criticism, or expressions of antipathy, dislike, ridicule, insult, or abuse of political religions or the beliefs or practices of their adherents, or of any other belief system, or the beliefs or practices of its adherents, etc., etc., etc. And it's like, how
He
how
did
do you how
indeed.
do you do that? Because it covers everything.
Yeah, he did indeed make it illegal, and then everybody ignored it because he doesn't have that power.
Yeah,
So I guess
So
the Times, I just did a quick look up that the Times found that over 12,000 arrests were made in 2023 uh, using that Malicious Communications Act of 1988 and Communication Act of 2003, while convictions have decreased dramatically over the decade. So, I mean, I guess this, and with all laws, there's always sort of uh, concerns about abuse where it's being used. I mean, like in the U.S., the Patriot Act was one example where it was essentially used to just the government could use it as an excuse to arrest whoever. And like in with the there's like egregious cases of civil forfeiture where the government basically said, "Hey, we have you under suspicion of trafficking drugs, so we're gonna take your property, your money, your car, or whatever that." Even
yeah,
even
that's
without conviction.
fucking appalling. That's just one of the worst things. One of the worst sets of laws I've ever come across. It's just ridiculous.
Right. So, like for that Communication Act, with the intent to say, "Oh, we want to prevent people who are, inciting hatred or whatever," and use that to essentially quell free speech. Right. That's the concern.
Mm. Yeah, well, it's always a balancing line because no matter how you do it, you end up drawing a line in the sand somewhere, and it's as you get close to that line, you start to get into some fuzzy fucking area. That's for sure. Um, and yeah, the question is, do you end up with creeping um, shutdown of speech, or which direction is the speech going in?
yeah,
So because yeah, does it? Are you slowly shutting down more and more speech, or less and less? There's definitely shutting down speech in America. That is, the free speech absolutists there are doing their damnedest to end all speech on the left side of politics.
What is this Nazi pug case in Scotland? I don't know what that is. Anyone know?
I've not heard it. Yeah. I'm just trying to see if it would. Scotland has recently brought in their new laws explicitly about hate speech. Hate crime and
Uh,
public order, Scotland Act
a, a man
2021.
was fined for posting an online video of a dog raising his paw as if carrying out a Nazi salute.
Hmm.
I guess that's
It depends on
so. If
context,
you make a
maybe.
video of a dog raising his paw as if carrying out a Nazi salute, should you be fined?
It's a case of what was the reason for it? Is he making fun of Nazis? Is he trying to stir up hatred? Is he?
Or
That's
calling
the problem.
Nazis
It's like, yeah,
dogs?
the intent means something.
Yeah, I guess, but um, so if the intent was satire, then it would have been okay. But if the intent was to say, "Oh, okay," so I let me share this. The guy name is the guy who was fined is named Count Dankula. So
Oh, Count Dankula, he's a good. He stands usually. He's like a protest vote in his local MP districts, his local constituency. There was him, there was Lord Buckethead, and there's
Oh, I
been a few
actually heard
others.
of Lord Buckethead. I don't know where, but
He had to
uh,
remove the Lord from his name at one point because it was
so he received press coverage after posting a video on YouTube which depicts him teaching his girlfriend's dog to raise his paw in a manner of Nazi salute and to react to the phrase, "Do you want to gas the Jews?" Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Um,
the
Yeah, that might
context doesn't sound particularly.
that's maybe gone too far. That yeah, it's
so he
rough.
was arrested and convicted of being grossly offensive under the Communication Act 2003 following a trial. And he was fined £800. And he said he would not pay the fine, instead donated £800 to the Glasgow Children's Hospital charity. And the money was seized from his bank account by an arrestment order.
It's a conviction.
Uh, so the title was "Mate, Your Dog's a Nazi." So, I mean, it seems
Oh
like
yeah,
he's not necessarily advocating that position, but he wanted to kind of react to his
yeah.
girlfriend who was saying, "Hey, my dog is so cute," and wanted to uh, essentially take the least adorable uh, thing.
So it wasn't satire. It wasn't
I
it
mean,
wasn't Uta going, "Look
it's
how bad this
not
is."
not
It was
necessarily
him
him.
basically trying to wind his girlfriend up.
Yeah, yeah. So it wasn't like him expressing that view, right? But using that view to, like you said, wind his girlfriend up. So
Yeah. So definitely falls afoul of it.
It's definitely standing really close to that fuzzy line in the sand, isn't it?
yeah,
However you want to look at it, because it wasn't being done, by the sound of that, it wasn't being done with the intent to
promote that
promote
idea.
that ideal. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was being done for satirical, jokey, shit posting reasons, really.
yeah,
Which is should fall on the not guilty side of the line, really.
yeah. I'm not sure why Hardy still can't understand this point, but I wasn't calling for him to be deplatformed. Deplatform meaning take away his
Take away his
platform.
platform.
Right.
Yeah, just
What I
that's what I
said
just
was
said.
that a specific debate forum, in the modern day debates, I said that they should not have him on. That's called
Yeah,
an opinion. Do you
and that's also not
understand?
his. That's also not his platform.
It's
So
not his platform that I'm trying to take
yeah,
away. If I said that the owner of that platform should not have a debate platform that has some people like Andrew on, then you could possibly make an argument that even then I'm expressing an opinion, but it'll be easier to say that I'm calling for deplatforming of that person's platform to have people debate it. I really don't understand how
not.
dumb people
It's
can
not
be.
his platform. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's not
I just
his
don't
platform.
understand.
So nobody's calling for his own platforms to be taken away, but no one should be encouraging that, giving that
And
wanker
I'm
access
not
to
even saying
additional platforms
that he shouldn't have
to their own.
access. I'm never saying that he shouldn't have access to that platform. I'm saying, expressing my opinion to the owner of the platform, saying that they should not have him on as a guest. It's kind of like if I
Yeah,
said, they shouldn't have, what's his name, that Chris Evans guy as Thor. I'm not saying he should be deplatformed from the Marvel cinematic universe. I'm just expressing an opinion. I really don't understand why people don't understand that. It is just
Yeah,
uh, and and uh, because I
yeah,
think the way Andrew kind of uh, sort of set this up, it made all his people think that I'm calling for him to be deplatformed because I used the term platform, meaning the modern day debates platform, that they shouldn't have him on. So it made it easy for idiots, for him to convince idiots to say, oh, he is calling for me to be deplatformed because he used the word platform. I mean, I mean, the only reason I'm getting a little bit riled up here is because just kind of stupidity of people to not understand the difference. Because I mean, Hardy isn't the only one. There's all these like Andrew Wilson sycophants who are just stuck on that idea and keep saying it. And uh, I just don't understand how they can't realize that I'm expressing my opinion. And it's not even like a hate speech
the opinion.
opinion, right?
Yeah. See, here's the thing: the opinion thing doesn't matter that much. I don't think, QC, um, because they're, you know, everyone's sort of expressing their opinion, but the thing has to do with the semantics of exactly what is being called for. So, or what is the opinion that's being expressed. So, they keep saying, "Oh, it's deplatforming," to have an opinion that he shouldn't get access to additional platforms that belong to somebody else. That's not deplatforming. He already has platforms. He can use them till his heart's content. He can say whatever he wants till his heart's content on that. But the thing which was being said is don't encourage, don't give him access to additional shit because the guy's a wanker, and he doesn't ever debate in good faith. He's an asshole. The fact of that, the good faith issue was demonstrated by the fact that he was invited on for a chat, and he turned it into a gotcha debate thing the whole way along without. And that was never what was there. Like, if it was intended to be a debate, it should have been set up as a debate. But no, that wasn't it. But that's exactly the bullshit that he does.
Well, the thing is, like, the reason why I had him on was because his initial objection wasn't that I expressed my opinion. His issue was that I had said that he was like misogynist and all that, and initially I had said that, oh, he had doxed Arden from the line at the time of the XP, and I was wrong in that um because he
Confusing
wasn't
with
the
someone
one who
else.
originally doxed Arden. So I was wrong about that, and I had him on specifically to say that I was wrong, right? To let him know that I was wrong in that case. And what he said was like, well, you have all these opinions about me, and you need to back that up. And instead of addressing that, he wanted to go after the whole idea of the deplatforming thing because that was a bigger issue for him. Not that I called him a misogynist or a fascist, because he's okay with that. His concern was that, oh, I don't want anyone to, have me cut me from my source of income, such as modern day debates, by your expression of your opinion. I don't want anyone to express opinions that I should not be on modern day debates. That
Well,
that
here's a
was his
question.
biggest concern.
Here's a question for Hardy. Hey, Hardy, should I be able to give a speech from the Resolute desk in the White House office? That's a platform. Should I be able to go and use that platform? And if not, you're calling for me to be deplatformed. It's exactly the same thing. It's an extreme example, but it's exactly the same thing.
So after all this point where I'm trying to say I'm not calling him for him to be deplatformed, he says, "I don't care if you want him deplatformed."
Nobody
Seriously?
wants him deplatformed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I mean,
dear.
this is where it's really hard to take anything he says seriously. I just feel like he's just not tracking. Like every time he comes on and makes comments here, he's like completely off. So anyway,
But
going
just
back to
answer that
this,
question, Hardy. Should I be able to give a speech from the Resolute desk in the White House? Um, yeah. Should I be able to do that? Do you think that I should be able to go and do that? That's the question that you need to answer. And if you do not think that I should be able to do that, then you're asking for me to be deplatformed.
and again, Hardy's coming in just not tracking because I didn't say he should be deplatformed from modern day debates. I said that he should not be a guest on the modern day's platform. So because I used the term platform, uh, they basically, people, Andrew and his sycophants, basically could not let that go. Because I used the word platform, they had to equivocate that with deplatform because of course the word platform is in there, so that must mean I'm calling for deplatforming. Um, the, it's just not
But
being able to understand what words mean.
yeah,
Just
here's the
because,
thing,
yeah.
It's just a
Hardy.
bad
I
faith
don't
argument.
have access to the White House Resolute desk as a platform. It's not my platform. So me not being allowed to go on it is not deplatforming me. It's just not giving me a bully pulpit that somebody else owns. That's the point that's being made. Um, that's where the line is drawn. It's not my
Well, so
platform that someone's.
if we go back to the idea of the free speech thing, right? So um, to say that someone has free speech, that they can express their opinion, doesn't mean that they should be able to express their opinions anywhere and everywhere, right? So it's not like you're entitled to uh, become a guest on the Colbert Show, for example, to go and or I guess the better example is the Joe Rogan podcast, right? You're not entitled to go on Joe Rogan's platform, and just because someone says that this person should not be allowed on Joe Rogan should not host him on his platform, is not calling for a deplatform. And me being able to say that so and so should not be on Joe Rogan's podcast is not it is actually free speech. But if I say, well, they're not letting me go go on Joe Rogan to say that so and so should not be on Joe Rogan, doesn't mean that I'm somehow losing my ability to have a free speech. And
Hardy,
that's
that's
kind of I
just
think what you're
idiotic.
saying as Blarg.
The, the most recent comment there is absolutely idiotic. Um, because yes,
Actually,
YouTube.
before you go, whenever people say why buy that, well, by that logic, it always is stupid. It always like
Yeah,
is people who don't understand
that's
logic saying it.
insanity. Because yes, YouTube owns the hardware, but um, the channel that I own, the one I'm using here, is my platform. Yes, YouTube can take my platform away, and that would be YouTube deplatforming me. That because that is ostensibly my platform. They've given me permission to use it. They haven't given me permission to use Joe Rogan's platform. So me not being able to post or post videos to his platform is not deplatforming me. And I absolutely Neil absolutely nailed it in the previous comment. Is wanting him not to have more platform a loss, which is yeah, that's the exact question. So suggesting that someone shouldn't have more of a platform isn't taking away someone's platform. They don't have the thing already. So yeah, if you don't have it, yeah, it's not being taken away from you. Um, it's absolutely insanity.
Yes,
But
I mean, I think with like large social media platforms like YouTube and Twitter and all that, it's kind of gotten to a And I think some people would argue that it's sort of a public utility now,
Yeah, that would
where,
be a reasonable argument.
yeah, that because it's available to, such a large population of people, and because there is so much leverage that you can get from such a quote unquote platform, you being that access to that platform being taken away from you can be considered deplatforming. So if someone went and removed uh, Andrew Wilson's YouTube channel and his Twitter account and Facebook and these type of kind of, like I said, sort of utility type of a public utility type of social media platforms, that can be considered deplatforming, I think. So or like in the case of like Stephen Colbert, where because the government
Was
didn't
his
like what he
platform.
said, yeah, that
Yeah,
is literally his platform, and getting that taken away is deplatforming,
yeah.
right?
So if
Even
MDD,
though he still has other platforms. It's a big platform of his, right? It's his specific platform. So that would be deplatforming. But if someone expressed an opinion, said, "Oh, Stephen Colbert shouldn't have a show anymore. I hate his show," that's called an opinion. It's deplatforming only if the president of the U.S., who actually has the power uh, to use the FCC to leverage the company that gives Stephen Colbert that platform, if someone like that not just expresses an opinion, but expresses the opinion in such a way that the FCC takes action, that is deplatforming. But a Joe Schmo saying, "I hate Stephen Colbert, he should not have that platform," that is not deplatforming. That is expressing an opinion. Maybe he is, right? According to Hardy's definition, I think Hardy is trying to deplatform Craig. It makes it seem like that's the case. And ultimately, that's where this ends up, right? All these people who support Andrew Wilson and him saying that I'm somehow deplatforming him, essentially are trying to deplatform me. And the fact that Andrew Wilson got scared of me, or what for whatever reason, he blocked me. By his definition, he deplatformed me, which is so ironic. It's hilarious. But it's amazing how it continues to come up. Uh, People will actually like keep making comments on that video to say, "Oh no, you're calling for him to be deplatformed."
so, and then there's that comment. So if MDD said Andrew could come on in the future, then they don't let him. Would you say that he platformed him? No, it's not his platform. How many times do we have to say this? That is not his platform. It's like saying you invite someone to your house and then later on you go, I've thought about it. Nah, I don't want that person in my house. And you uninvite them from your house. You haven't kicked them out of your house. You haven't taken away the roof over their head. It's because it's not their house. It's not their platform to start with. The people whose platform it is, that they can do whatever they want with it. That's the thing. It's not his platform. So no, he hasn't been deplatformed when you take away his invitation to come on in the future.
Guess what? Modern day debates, they actually responded to my tweet saying that they shouldn't have him on. Guess what they said? They said, "No, we will have him on," which is fine. uh, but it pretty much is an indicator that I was expressing an opinion. And the owner of that platform said, "No, we're not going to take your opinion. We're going to keep having him on." So I really can't see how what I said is any different from anyone expressing an opinion of a dislike of of someone who is an avowed fascist. I really don't understand that.
Which
And
part?
Albania liked your house analogy, Blurg.
Yeah. How? Which part of it's not his platform? Don't you understand, Hardy? Honestly, which part of that don't you get? Because that's the line. Andrew has a channel. That's his platform. MDD is somebody else's platform. They can choose whatever they want to do with that. That was never his. If you take away his access to it, if they take away his access to it, it was never his in the first place. So, yeah, just I don't know how this is difficult.
Yeah, the only thing is like
It's
whenever Hardy says that he's trying to have a good faith argument, uh, despite him not actually responding to any of the arguments, makes me doubt either that he's not being good faith or he's just incapable of understanding an argument. Right? He says you're being incredibly bad faith when you aren't even addressing my point or anyone's point here. That seems more like a bad faith, where you're not addressing the actual comments and you're just continuing to say the same thing over and over. Oh, you said deplatform. No, I didn't even say deplatform. And just because I used the term platform doesn't mean I'm calling for deplatform. And you still haven't been able to explain how what I said is any different from any opinion that someone can express. So, I mean, it's
but
I always
here's the
get a
thing, Hardy.
kick. Yeah.
You do own your channel. It is hosted by YouTube. You can go and sell your channel on YouTube if you want to somebody else. It clearly indicates that there is a degree of ownership. It's just like you don't own the piece of sidewalk that you're standing on to hold up a placard. So if somebody goes along and decides, well, we're going to sell that bit of sidewalk to some developer to do something with, yeah, it's just completely. It's a really strange sort of an argument. The channel, the MDD channel on YouTube is their channel. YouTube can't go and give it to somebody else. They can say, yes, you breached the terms and shut them down if they so choose. But ostensibly, it's the same as a sidewalk these days.
If
So
YouTube went to modern day debates and said, you know, if you have Andrew Wilson on, we're going to take away your channel, that would be deplatforming, right? Where
that
you're
would certainly
taking
be
away,
a
and
problem with
it
free
isn't even
speech.
deplatforming Andrew Wilson. It is taking away modern day debates platform because
Yeah,
they don't adhere to some spurious requirement, and it is very much like taking away, going back to Corbett, the government taking away his platform because the president did not like being made fun of, and him quelling free speech by doing that to make sure that other late night hosts don't say anything bad about him, right? It's like it's not just taking away Corbert's platform; it's also giving a warning to anyone who would express their opinion on a public platform.
nobody said anything about your feels, Hardy. We said Andrew had his feels hurt by what QC said. Um, and I still don't know what you're talking about with the abortion thing. Um, and I've already given the
Abortion,
definition. The
I feel
the
like,
definition.
yeah, go ahead.
It's simply if you have a platform and someone calls for that to be taken away, it's your platform. whether that is hosted by YouTube or Meta or whoever, or whether it's a corner on the on a street somewhere, you can go along and say that that's your spot. If someone calls for that to be taken away from you, then yeah, that's deplatforming. But if if someone says, well, you shouldn't get access to because of your opinions and their opinion about what you have to say, they say, oh well, we'd expect you not to. It'd be nice if you didn't get extra platforms by being given a mouthpiece from somebody else's piece of property. Then that is not deplatforming. That's not being invited into someone's house.
By the way, if I were to block Hardy from my channel so that he can't come on here and express his opinion, would that be deplatforming him?
No, it'd be uninviting him from your platform.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got
Except
his own
someone
damn
like
platform.
Hardy or Andrew might say that that's deplatforming him, right? In their definition, they might say that that's deplatforming. What do you think, Hardy? If I blocked you, am I deplatforming you according to your definition? I wonder. But I mean, it is kind of interesting that this is kind of related to the free speech discussion.
It is.
So first of all, free speech is about the government, right? Why are we acting like deplatforming is some heinous crime? So I spent like 30 minutes and a bunch of us saying for 30 minutes that I did not call for Andrew Wilson to be deplatformed. And Hardy somehow like isn't hearing any of it. Why are we acting like deplatforming is some heinous crime? I don't know.
Nobody's acting like. Well, apparently the Andrew Wilson people are acting like
I
it's a
know,
heinous
I know.
crime.
They think it is some
That's
kind
the
of heinous
weirdest thing.
crime.
Like, yeah, it's a bizarre. Sorry, Hardy, but it's a bizarre position to take, considering that's the all the pearl clutching which has happened from the Andrew Wilson fanboys about QC saying, "Oh no, it'd be best if you didn't have him on your channel. That's my opinion." And yeah, I go, terrible! You can't say that. If it's not a crime to do it, why is it?
So,
Why the fuck are you arguing?
so here's again. After me saying over and over that I was expressing an opinion and not calling for him to be deplatformed, it somehow like hasn't registered in his head, I guess. So he keeps on saying, I don't get why you won't just say you want him deplatformed. Because I'm not saying that he should be deplatformed.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
like is that what you? Is that what you want, Hardy? Is you want us to go along and say, well, Andrew Wilson should have his tongue cut out and never be able to, and his fingers removed, so he can never ever write or say anything ever again? Is that what you're trying to get us to say? It's bizarre. It's the strangest. Oh, I don't
think
know.
that
It's
someone
so
should go
weird.
to I think someone should go to Andrew Wilson's house and really, really tighten all the jar lids. That's what I'm calling for. So
Yeah, glue them down. That's always
yeah,
funny.
glue them down.
Put a little bit of silicone underneath it, and then
Yeah, so
yeah,
here's the thing.
we
I'm
he said it
literally
100
saying
times. He said what he believes 100 times. He can't say it anymore. Like, honestly.
Oh my god.
That's what he believes.
um it's like if I kept on saying I'm an atheist, And Hardy keeps on saying, "Why won't you say that you are a Christian? I just want you to be honest. Just say you're a Christian. Express what you really believe." Oh my gosh.
Uh, I don't
I
think we
mean,
can get any
this
more.
is where it's hard for me to believe that Hardy's actually trying to have a good faith discussion, because he is literally not listening to anything that's being said, and he just wants to get to, well, just be honest, just say what you believe. It's not pickle, guys. It's olives. I don't know if that actually makes a difference.
Olives are a type
The-
of pickle.
That's actually a
It's
good
true.
point.
They are a pickled fruit, the same
the
as
the
pickled cucumbers.
Yeah. The funniest thing
You
about
talking
that
brine or
incident
vinegar here?
of his is that when Andrew Wilson started blaming the woman who initially tried to open the pickle jar and said, "Well, you made it all greasy, and that's the reason why I can't open it." And then some other guy that I guess apparently like a part of the crew there went and just opened it and just like one twist. And that was
Yeah,
just so
um,
embarrassing.
it was hilarious. Wheat grist.
And
You'd think
just
you'd think being such a
FYI,
wanker, he would have extremely strong wrists, but that's just my opinion.
and here's how thin skinned he is. The reason why he blocked me is because I made one comment on his Twitter thread mentioning that whole Picklegate thing. It was just like just one comment, and immediately he blocked me. I mean, that's
Poor
how thin
feels.
skinned he is about that. Anyway, I mean, I think whenever Hardy comes on, it's just uh, it really exemplifies how some people really can't track an argument. And this is the case, like whenever I'm watching these videos of creationists coming on or flat earthers coming on, and they just can't follow through on what the other person is saying, and they just go through a script, not necessarily a script, but they're kind of established views where they just can't deviate from it,
Come on, just put that last
despite.
one up, Hardy's last one, because the answer to your problem is in your own definition. Someone else's channel is not a public forum. Modern day debates is not a public forum, it's a private forum. They can have anyone they want on. These days we consider Twitter and or Shitter, as I
YouTube.
prefer to call it, and YouTube and all of those as a public forum. So taking away someone's channel from that would be deplatforming. But it's not a public forum to be on somebody else's channel. That's not a public forum. There's the answer.
I
It's
agree
it's
with
right
Craig.
there.
I agree with Craig. We should
Yeah.
just move on. I mean, just going back to the, uh, eh, with the free speech thing. So, what I was starting to say was that um, the idea of free, when people say, "Oh, I have the free speech to so and so," free speech is about the government not being, preventing you from expressing your opinions or expressing yourself, etc. So someone in the private forum where let's say you suffer the consequences of expressing your views. Let's say that you posted some TikTok video of you being racist to someone, and your company saw that and didn't want to be associated with that, and and took you off. Or let's say not even racist. Let's say that uh, you got on social media and talked about your company and how horrible your company is, and your company saw that, and despite you having expressed your private opinion, the company can fire you, because free speech isn't about protection to say anything, whatever you want, with no consequences. Free speech is about the government not making laws to abridge your ability to express your express yourself. But it doesn't mean that there's no consequences to that. So that's where I think a lot of people, when they the quote unquote free speech absolutists, they sometimes get stuck in there where they think that they should be able to say anything that they want with no consequences.
If we go back to the house analogy, um, you know, you can have you can have an opinion. I've invited you to come over to my house, and then I hear you speaking, and let's say you had an opinion about how women should be treated. That was yeah, really, uh, I didn't like in a particular way. Um, I can go and uninvite you from that. There's a consequence that comes. Come over for a barbie. Oh, now I've heard you suggesting that women should be seen and not heard, and they should get back in the kitchen. And that wasn't being ironic or humorous. You were genuinely saying it. I, yeah. The consequence is you're not invited to my damn barbecue. Um, yeah, speech has consequences, um, and it's not taking away your free speech. You still got the opportunity to say what you want. You just have to live with what comes of the consequence.
So, should Christian free speech be monitored due to their views on some subjects being offensive to some? Again, I think if it's a government, the government shouldn't be able to say that you can't express your religious views. So, again, this becomes a little bit of a gray area. So let's say that you, as a Christian, believe that adulterers should be stoned, and you called for all adulterers to be stoned. I think then that goes beyond just free speech and beyond religious speech, even if you say that it's part of your religious belief, because it can actually harm people. And the grayer area is if you start saying that people should not get vaccinated, instead of getting vaccinated, you should pray, or you shouldn't get transfusions, and so telling people that your kid who's sick, don't take them to the hospital, and we should just pray about it. I think that also kind of gets into that gray area where,
The grayness
especially if
there
you,
stops though when the fact that you're now, if there's action on that and a child is harmed as a result of your religious belief. Sorry, but your religious belief doesn't absolve you from the fact that you caused harm to another person in that case. So there's consequences. Say it if you want to, but there's definitely consequences.
and the other thing is with, like, like with what Neo was saying, replace Christian with Muslim or some religious boogeyman, and you see the problem. Um, Obviously, if the government has like a preferential allowance for certain religion, so you allow Christians to, for example, post the Ten Commandments, but you don't allow Muslims to post whatever lines from the Quran, then you are, I think, making you're discriminating, right? You're bridging whatever standards of free speech that you're trying to uphold. Yeah, I mean the issue really is like, it's hard to draw that line, and I think anti-vax was like one of the examples where, um, in kind of trying to give religious tolerance or allow for religious freedom, and so now we're going from free speech to religious freedom. Uh, i- if it harms the public by allowing for it, then I think the government sort of has a duty to step in. And the COVID case was an example where in Korea, they actually did a really good job initially of getting a handle on the spread of the virus. However, there were some Christian denominations, some Christian churches where, they were absolutely against not being allowed to meet and have service. And, that particular church explicitly had service where they were like packed in, where everyone was like, literally, touching, their arm was touching the next person, their, legs were touching. They were like really, and I'm not sure if it was part of their denomination, but they were like really closed in. And it just like caused a wildfire. And it created havoc in Korea where they essentially lost control of
I think there's some
the
bullshit in there
virus.
too. Some bullshit in there, like where does the Bible say that you don't get vaccinations? Where does it say that you don't that you have to sit that you have to have your service all crammed into a small space? Like there's all of these stories about Jesus preaching on a mount to an open field of people, but apparently you have to be able to have your service in this tiny little squeezed in space. There's some of this religious thing is just excuse for just bullshit. It's just trying to make religion as the excuse, as the rationale for a different reason. The reason is I'm an anti-vaxxer. I'm going to say that it's my religion to be an anti-vaxxer, even though you can't point to any actual religious reason for that. It's insanity. That
I
doesn't
feel
make any
like during
sense.
that time, because people using religion, like you said, I think a lot of it was the churches. They didn't want to lose their their donations. They didn't want to uh, have a reduction in offerings because I'm sure that there must have been a big drop off when, because what happened is like when people were having church service remotely, they're less likely to donate
Yeah,
or
but
give
poor
offerings.
bastards. Everybody else was suffering the same problem. You couldn't go into restaurants. Oh, so restaurants should be able to all stay open because they would lose some money. And theaters, you can't go into theaters because they would get harmed. And yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous that yeah, you're going to lose money. Yeah, everyone's losing money. That's what happens under this circumstance. It's a shit situation. It's nobody is in a good place. You
Yeah,
don't get
but it's
special treatment because I got a special permission from my special friend.
yeah, I just feel like it's kind of especially egregious when the church is using religion, when these churches use religion as an excuse to bypass these public safety regulations
Yeah,
because not because of necessarily the faith aspect, but because they were losing money. And
yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that all the churches were like that, and I don't think all the churches were necessarily trying to get people to come in. But I have to imagine there were a lot of churches where that was one of the motivations, right, to hold the services, the money part.
Um, actually, the comment from Hardy there's not is an interesting one. Wouldn't protest a vaccine from a biblical perspective, just a freedom perspective. But the reality is, nobody forced anyone to have a vaccination. You weren't held down and said you must get this vaccination. But just like free speech, things have consequences.
Yep.
So if you're a nurse and you choose not to get vaccinated, like you can have all these other vaccines, they're all fine, but all of a sudden this vaccine, for some reason, that one's some magical bogeyman. But anyway, sorry, but
Well, no, it's
You
because it's
can't
an
come back
RNA
to work.
vaccine.
Yeah,
It was
but you just
because
can't come
RNA
back to
vaccine,
work.
and it changed your genome and it made you a
Magnetic.
mutant or something. That's
Yeah, it
that's
made you
why.
magnetic. Remember,
Oh, that's right.
made spoons stick to your face.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm yet to get
But that's precisely
magnetic
right, right?
powers.
No
I'm
one,
getting
no
annoyed.
one, the government didn't go and like tie down these nurses and force them to get a shot.
No,
They had
they had
people
all the
burning
freedom they
down
wanted.
5G towers because they reckoned it spread COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
I
not dealing
also
with a full plot here.
saw people doing that, sort of making those sort of stupid claims about 5G towers will kill everything within so many meters of them. Um,
Well,
and
also, by the
then
way, everyone who got the COVID shot died of AIDS in 2025. FYI,
yeah,
that's
um,
what they predicted.
several billion people.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah, and
no, they didn't make it suspiciously quickly.
I
It's a
I know
technology
it's
SARS
which is
and
being
oh
built
MERS.
for
my
years.
SARS
But
yeah
and MERS are
yeah, you
coronaviruses,
yeah, that's
and they
right.
use those.
Yeah, you can if you've got a very similar virus to work with, MERS and SARS. You've got those to work with. They had a real huge. They had a couple of decades head start on this virus, and they had new technology which give them the ability to manufacture quickly. But the reality is, yeah, that's reasonable. You don't know much about vaccines. A lot of people
I
don't,
don't know much
and
about
that's
vaccines, but I know that they made us suspiciously quickly. That seems
yeah,
contradictory. Isn't it interesting how people who admit to not knowing something express opinion as if they know something? But why why am I still alive if I died in 2025?
you're not. You got
You're dead.
oh, maybe Jesus came back in 2025, and all the graves opened up. And you climb back out again. Ah, you're a Christian. Maybe that's why you're alive, Craig.
But just going back to what you were saying, Blarg, it is like, free speech where private institutions could require you to get a vaccine,
In
or
this case,
even the
public as
government,
well.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, for even the government, for public safety reasons, you were required to have the vaccine, and if you didn't, you don't have a job. And for a lot of people, that's where they were kind of using that to say we were forced to get vaccines. Yeah, meaning they wanted to keep their job, and they felt that it was wrong that they had to have a vaccine to keep their job.
yeah.
So
Got a close person that I know who's a nurse who fell into this anti-vaxxer bullshit thing here in Australia. Like she's a nurse and her husband is an engineer, and yeah, just neither of them are idiots. But the weirdness of this, and like she's a nurse, she should know better about how vaccines work. So not knowing how vaccines work is yeah, she knows how vaccines work, and she has the ability to understand the reason why the vaccine, how it works, and how it was developed so quickly, but fell into this anti-vax conspiracy nonsense and lost her job as a result of it. Because the same thing happened in Australia. We said, look, sorry, if you want to be hanging around extremely sick people who are at very, very high risk of dying if you cough on them, um, then sorry, but you can't come to work.
yeah, because you're
So
not just putting your own safety in jeopardy in that case. You're putting in jeopardy
e-
the lives of
everyone
all the
around you,
people that you interact with. So if
yeah,
you are a nurse and you're dealing with sick people and you can potentially kill them, it's no longer about your own safety. I don't understand
yeah.
why people don't understand
If
that.
if you think of it this way, Hardy, let's go Second Amendment. yes, you have the right to own a gun, but if you go around just shooting your gun everywhere, you know, just firing it up into the air all over the place, you know, shooting it here and shooting it there, that's exactly what not getting a vaccination is like. You are playing Russian roulette with other people's lives. It might not be harming you, and yes, you might think that it's harming you, but that's the reality. A person who is not vaccinated, particularly around people who are very ill, essentially they're just shooting a gun into crowds, and you know, oh, it's my right to shoot a gun. Therefore, yeah, you're being mean to me to say I can't do that. That's the
So
same
bringing the
argument.
so bringing this back to free speech, um, the spread of misinformation that actually would get even people like nurses, right? People who are
Yeah,
educated to fall into these conspiracy theories is actually dangerous to the public, and that's where the question would be: should the government actually crack down on it, right? On people spreading misinformation about, oh, they didn't do any testing on the vaccines, despite there being tests on the vaccines, despite it going through all the processes just at an accelerated rate, thanks to Trump in part, ironically,
yeah, it
mostly
is
because
ironic.
yeah, mostly because at the time I don't think he had
Yep.
the clout, and also he actually, had people who didn't want people to die. So people who actually were able to manipulate him, I guess. So, should the government be able to crack down and say, uh, and maybe even go beyond like these anti-vaxxers, but let's say like flat earthers or others, where this type of propagation of misinformation actually causes real harm. So, should the government do that? What do you think?
No, I don't. I don't think it. It see, it's a shit situation.
Even if like, I mean, like, think of like the extra millions of people who died, who
Yeah, I
may
know.
not have died.
It's a tough position to be in, honestly, because the reality is that the laws and the action which can shut down that sort of misinformation can shut down real information as well. Can be used
Hmm.
Yeah.
that way. It's yeah, like someone could be whistleblowing a genuine story, and yeah, you prevent it from coming out using exactly the same methodology. It's a tough position, but there was a comment, another comment from Hardy, which I thought was another reasonable one. Someone who gets vaccinated can't get the disease. No, it's not how vaccines work. They reduce your risk. That's all. Some vaccines are extremely good at reducing the risk to near zero. Other vaccines are a bit shit, like the vaccine for tuberculosis. It's about 50% reduction in your likelihood to get tuberculosis. It's pretty shit, but that's a pretty bloody tough um, bacteria to deal with. However you go, so yeah, there's variation all throughout the vaccine. Some um,
A lot of it
reduce it really well,
depends
others
on
don't.
like a lot of it depends on the on how the virus, its reproduction, or
Yeah,
its
how it
Yeah.
works.
yeah, how
But one thing that
its
is
infection cycle works.
one thing that was really obvious from the COVID vaccine is that yeah, it doesn't stop you getting COVID, but as a general rule, people who are vaccinated get COVID much less often, and when they do get COVID, they get a much less severe case of it. Yes, there have been people who have died with COVID, but the if you go and have a look at the percentage of people who died without a vaccine and the percentage of people who died who were vaccinated, um, yeah, it's not even close. So it's yeah, orders of magnitude. So yeah, that's not quite how vaccines work. Um,
Yeah, pretty much
and
like,
yes,
especially for
some vaccines do.
respiratory. Yeah, some
Um,
vaccines still require boosters, and again, it
yeah,
depends on the type of virus you're talking about. So for
yeah, some
respiratory
last forever.
viruses, yeah, yeah,
Like
um,
measles is pretty well a once you've been vaccinated for measles, that one kind of sticks around forever. But coronaviruses just don't. It's the reason why you can keep getting a cold, because quite often the cold that you get this year might be almost identical to a virus that caused a cold, say 5 years ago. Um, yeah, for some reason I don't understand, coronaviruses are a particular type of virus that our ability to remember them our immune system's ability to remember the virus is extremely shit. So it starts to wane quite quickly afterwards, and within a couple of years, it's effectively close to zero memory of it.
yeah. For a
And
lot of
yes,
these respiratory viruses, because it gets into your mucous membranes. It essentially it's able to infect your cells before your immune responses can actually respond, meaning that there'll be some cells that get infected, but if you are immunized, your immune system then can prevent further spread of that infection. So that's where it reduces the actual uh, the symptoms, the disease part, right? You still get the infection, but you don't get the full blown disease.
yeah,
For
and
other infections where it actually like goes into, let's say, not just in your mucous membrane, but within your like more of within deeper in your body, then your immune cells can, your immune system can actually respond and kick it out. So
that's
there's that.
That's a good question, Craig. In most cases, people who died from COVID, yeah, they had comorbidities, but that's how it always works with just about everything. You know, a person who gets a particular type of cancer, um, the presence of comorbidities has an effect upon whether that cancer is likely to kill them or not, because of certain things like your body's ability to withstand a treatment regimen, for example, or people who have um, a, a compromised immune system because they have diabetes, they're more likely to die from. Yeah, there's all sorts of things, and in almost every case, nobody dies from a single cause. They die from combinations of things that also kind of stack up and eventually get you.
Well, it's
So,
like
but
with
there's a prox.
it's like with AIDS, right? It's not the
Yeah,
I was about to say
HIV directly
HIV.
killing you. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I was just going
I
to
think
finish.
Neil was
You know,
saying some.
I was about to expand on what you were saying. And saying HIV is another thing. No one dies of HIV. They die because HIV ruins their immune system, and they
Yeah.
Yeah,
die of other things
yeah,
that their
that's right.
immune system would have prevented. So cancer, they're more likely to die from cancer, um, TB, pneumonia, bronchitis as a whole.
Yeah,
Most of them are
all
respiratory
sorts of
diseases.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
septicemia. Um, yeah, and it's not the
the
HIV that's killing them. It's the fact that their immune system has been compromised, and it's the
and
other diseases that are killing them.
that's what all the other diseases, the existing underlying health issues, are involved in that, all over the place. But the essentially, I think the way in which most doctors look at it is the this sort of question of what's the proximal cause. So
Yes.
what's the if they didn't get. So if this person had all those conditions and then didn't get COVID, would they have died? And the answer in that case is no.
Yeah.
So therefore, they put it down as COVID being the cause, but then they list comorbidities in the thing, like you're a smoker and you have diabetes and you have high blood pressure. Those things go in there to help understand the rest of the equation. Um, so, uh,
And
so
it helps
yeah,
with the stats and preventative measures like lockdowns and whatnot.
yeah. So Yeah, and the question about was the risk versus reward of lockdown during COVID? Yeah, that's actually a really good question because it really comes down to the question of how much do you value a person's life? How much do you value your parents' lives, or your grandparents' lives, or your kids' life, or your own life? Um, some people try and make a stupid claim that there's no such thing as, human lives are incalculably valuable, and that's just not how it is because we always take risks based, you know, but yeah, it's genuinely an argument about how much do we accept, how much risk do we accept, and different countries did it in different ways, and different people in different countries have opinions, and it was an interesting thing to watch. So
Yeah, there
yeah,
were some people who actually advocated for just letting everyone get infected, because
yeah,
especially before the vaccine, because then what would just happen is you would essentially have people who have a population of people who are immune, and people who are
yeah,
not
but not
immune
for
would just
long.
die. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, 3 months later, um, that it would be a rolling
yeah,
wave of death because the body's ability to remember, as it turns out, your ability to remember having COVID as the disease compared to COVID the vaccine, you're even worse at remembering COVID the disease than you are at remembering COVID the vaccine. So your body's you would quickly become susceptible to COVID again and again and again, and who knows how many times before you get a strain that for some reason is really nasty for you. So it's a tough policy question, and there is no actually correct answer.
well, I mean, it was definitely not the correct answer to get everyone infected, because what
Yeah,
basically
that's
that
a
lets you
terrible answer.
do, yeah, because what that lets you do is now you have hundreds of millions, maybe billions of people where they essentially incubate the virus and allow it to mutate, right?
Yeah, that
You
is true too.
propagate. So now you're just going to have more mutations than you would have if you just, let's say, just did a lockdown and you reduce the number of infections. So it would not have been the right answer to just say, let the healthy people go out and live,
Live.
and let the old people and little kids, actually, old people and infants die off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, finest is a terrible term. It's fittest, but the thing is, we kind of got to a point where we prefer not to do things that way with people. We value people, even people we disagree with. So you know. Um, I would not want Andrew Wilson, who I think is a steaming pile of shit, to die from
Quit
anything. Like,
deplatforming him.
yeah, um, yeah, or yeah, it's yeah, I value people's lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, yeah,
And the thing is,
we
like,
try and go away from natural selection in that case because it the
yeah,
those
natural selection
viruses.
doesn't necessarily mean that, let people who are able or who are susceptible to infections die off. That's just like a very simplistic view of natural selection. Having empathy and sympathy and society where you actually help people who are sick and old, that is also natural selection. We actually were selected, human beings and other society animals were actually selected to help others, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
That's
that
true.
is
That's
part
where our
of natural
Survival
selection.
morality comes
advantage.
from.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah, we're
to say that
colony
natural
organisms.
selection means just letting, the weak die, is just like such a simplistic understanding of evolution.
Yeah,
But that's what you hear a lot of times from creationists, because they
yeah.
they actually don't know the science.
Um, then there's the question about use of the N word. The government hasn't made the N word illegal, But just like everything else that we were in our discussion of,
Okay,
uh,
everyone, we have to like stop doing all the puns that we've been doing this whole time.
Oh
Now that John is
yeah,
back.
no! You've been punning without me.
hey John,
Yeah, we've been punning without you.
we've had a punny good time.
Oh,
Uh,
it's no laughing matter.
I try not
You
to.
only live punts.
What happened, John? Did you have to like take Steve-O's shift today or something?
Well, see, Florida finally called me on the phone.
No, he didn't, did he?
No, 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 no. No,
Oh, it would be so
It'd be
good.
funny if he
no, he
did.
called me even if he did have my phone number. No, I was so my ex-wife, ever since the most recent election, has every month had a safe space gathering for friends of ours that are members of the queer community. We wanted to make sure that they have a space where they can feel seen and heard, and just be able to, have fun and gather around and tell great stories and eat great food.
Wow.
And that was a uh, I thought, okay, well, I should be able to stick my head in. And a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in like 10 years finally shows up. And so he and I start getting caught up. And then I realized, oh my goodness, I got to leave. Otherwise, I won't be able to make it to the live stream. So sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. We were talking about free speech and
Yes.
whether it was okay for you to express your opinion or not. Apparently, some people don't think it's okay. So,
Yeah. What I was going to answer there, just finished the thing from Hardy. Was saying use of the N word. My opinion on it is that yeah, you can use the N word if you want, but expect there to be consequences. It's a little bit like losing the invite to the barbecue. Yeah,
Well,
say
yeah.
what you want, but I don't have to have you in my house. And so use the N word if you want, but you don't have to. People don't have to tolerate it around you. So that's it. So that's
Right.
my
It's like
opinion.
it's one of those things where you can say whatever you want, but you're not free. You're free to say whatever you want, but you're also not free from the consequences of saying
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah, that's a point we've made over and over. Exactly the same thing. You're right
Yeah.
on the same money we are.
It's like,
Um,
okay. Now, I also am free to decide that if you say certain stuff, one of the consequences is I'm not going to want to be around you because I either find it personally repugnant or what you're saying is just so ignorant that I don't want to put up with you. So I get to decide I'm not going to be around this person, but that's just a consequence.
yep. But the
yeah,
free
it's
speech
not
part,
illegal.
from a legal point of view, is that the government can't pass a law that says
Right.
that if you say the N word, that they can send you to jail.
Yeah, but in this
Right.
case, if you say the N word, you make life terrible for other work. Essentially, what you're doing is you're making life bad for other workers around you, and it's not unreasonable for even the government as an employer to kick you out. So again, it's consequences. It's not
Right.
illegal, but there's still consequences. Consequences
Right.
happen.
Where legally it gets admittedly sometimes a little blurry, at least in the states, is if we're in a work environment and if I'm talking about something that is uncomfortable for the people around me, then it's the effect of the hostile work environment that they're trying to litigate against, not the cause of that uncomfortable work environment.
Wait,
And
did you just finish your required training on discrimination at work?
upon advice of counsel, I'm going to plead my fifth.
Best
I
thing to do.
actually, I do need to do that. I mean, for us, we have like until September, but we have like whole slew of these kind of
Yeah,
training, quote unquote training that you have
Retraining,
to do.
yeah.
All of
Re-
the training really
yeah.
is just a bit of a joke.
sure. I mean, some of it is a joke, but some of it is. I mean, so the short answer to your question is not recently, but yeah, I have had the annual the annual review of HR standards and practices is something that I've had to sit in on from time to time, just because of my role as a manager and a supervisor. Um, and what everybody seems to forget about the freedom of speech is that it is prohibiting the government from restricting what you say, but companies are private, and so
Yeah.
they can
Well,
make
Hardy was
just
asking about the government firing you for use of the N word. What's your take on that?
so.
The government actually can, right, in a workspace.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
essentially infringing on other people's rights,
Yeah.
people
Again,
who are
it's not
protected
when
classes.
right. So there you get into the realm of hate speech and whether or not it's whether or not the speech itself is being prohibited. And again, it's one of these fun little legal threading of the needle, and that is there are specific words and actions and phrases that are so inherently offensive and toxic that the reasonable expectation of the response to that is what they're trying to mitigate. And so, because you don't want to have a hostile work environment, you want to have everybody feel like they can come to work and do their jobs without unnecessary stress and anxiety. And so, to stop that, um, the prohibiting of specific words and phrases is my understanding is that that's what's actually being made illegal. So it's not per se that the N word is illegal. It's that you're saying it can only result in this hostile work environment, and therefore we cannot allow you to say it.
I've got a interesting example of uh, a mate of mine who is he's a little ways along the autism scale,
Sure.
and he does not have any concept whatsoever of he cannot see discomfort on someone else's face. He just
Okay.
can't.
Oh, yeah.
He's incapable of that. So he is also he's an intelligent bloke, and he has strong opinions and strong some understanding of things. So he's a funny situation he quite often finds himself in, particularly with women, where he's explaining their periods to them.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
see, everyone can see why that's a problem, but he can't. It's
Yeah.
not. He can't see the cringe. He can't see
But
the
what
horror.
what if your friend
But
went to some woman and said,
you also like
you know,
after a while,
you just need to smile more.
even basic pattern
Yeah.
What about
recognition of
that?
every time I do this, people act badly and people tell me not to do it again. So after a while, you
Yeah.
just like can't you just
He
sort of
like he does learn bits and
okay,
pieces, but yeah, he gets into some of these sort of conversations, and yeah, he's incapable of doing it. And yeah, at his he got fired at a previous workplace because that sort of situation. He never said any bad words. He never sexually harassed anyone. He never dropped an N word. He never did any of those things. But his presence was toxic to the workplace because people just couldn't get past the difficulty he caused. Um, so yeah, it's interesting because over the years, you know, once we sort of understood, you know, when I first met the guy, autism was an autism spectrum thing was just wasn't really a thing. So we didn't really understand what's going on. So, but these days you can just say to someone, you know, he's on the autism scale. If you are uncomfortable, you just have to tell him. He can't understand. He can't get body language. Just say, Dave, I don't want to talk about it, and it makes me uncomfortable, and it doesn't upset him at all. He's like, oh, okay, and or you know, you're yawning and it's time you want to go to bed, and he's hanging around wanting to yak. You just go, I'm going to bed, Dave, go home. And he's like, oh, all right, I'll see you next time. Yeah, once you understand how to work him, he's fine. But he does make people's lives uncomfortable. He's a space invader as well. So he
Okay.
stands way too close to people. So
Oh,
you
I
just
didn't
have
know.
to
I
say,
didn't know what
stand
you
back there.
meant. I didn't know what you
Yeah.
meant when you said Space Invader.
Yeah, he
No,
stands
I
too
mean,
close.
You like
I'm
that
an
too? I
idiot.
understand.
But
One of my
yeah,
best friends in the world. One of my best friends in the world is strongly on the autism spectrum, and he does not understand. He cannot appreciate. My partner and I were snuggled up on the couch, and we were watching a movie, and he comes and he tries to snuggle on the couch with us.
What?
Yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong with that?
Well, see, first of all, you didn't ask, Hayden.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
By the way,
uh,
when these kind of comments that Hardy makes, it shows a lot about the kind of person he is. Asking someone to smile is sexual harassment. It really depends, right?
that is
Going to
definitely a straw man of what was
Yeah.
said.
Well,
Yeah.
So
And here's another one. Black people use the N-word as a friendly greeting with each other. So I think it boils down to gatekeeping and trying to hold power over us, even if it's only
Oh
social.
no, it's not quite
So
like
yeah,
that.
well,
it says a lot about I think the
Conspiracies are
kind of
fun,
person
aren't
he
they?
is. By the way, the question that Craig asked, have you ever faced discrimination in workplace? So most of the places I worked have been larger companies where obviously there's it's harder. I think there's less of overt discrimination. I don't think I've really in the workspace anyway. I don't think I've and maybe it's because I was working a lot more in the tech sector. Uh, I think there was less of a discrimination. Um,
Yeah.
where I'm currently at is a Fortune 500 company, and uh, I, I'm not in IT, but I do kind of I'm like a business liaison into with IT, and there are a lot of Indians, so it's like when we go out to team lunches, it's the white people who are the minorities there. So that makes it harder for I think Asians to get discriminated, and also, uh, despite being a lot of Indians and some Asians, there aren't really that many black people, at least within our team. There is a lot more on other teams, uh, but I think the discrimination, especially in the U.S. on black people, is a whole different type of discrimination than against Asians or Indians. Um, and but I think it really depends on the workplace, the type of company. If I was in maybe like a more of a private, smaller company, maybe in some of these like in the South, maybe probably I would experience more of that discrimination. But yeah, personally, I haven't, fortunately, been subject
Uh,
to
Well,
discrimination.
if you're in the South, I live in the South. It depends on where you live. If you work in a
Hmm.
city, it's not that bad, depending on where you're at. But if you get to more rural areas, that might be a different story altogether.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely, depending on different areas, I do feel uncomfortable in like certain areas. But yeah, within cities and all that, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Tuna says, I had a coworker years ago who would pat me on the back. It creeped me out, so I can understand how unwanted boundary crossing can feel.
that's
yeah.
exactly it. So what's funny about the story with that tuna is that a little while after he got fired, going out to the movies and invited him along. So it was the missus and me and my mate and another friend of ours who happened to be friends with his boss, his ex-boss, who, unbeknownst, had invited the ex-boss along as well. Um, and yeah, Jason was. He's like, sort of come out and he's like, "Oh, geez, I feel so damn uncomfortable." And in this sort of circumstance because I fired your friend, and I'm like, "Hey, look, it's fine. I've known him for freaking decades. I would have fired his ass too. It's just how it is.
That's
Like,
about right.
I like the guy. He's one of my best mates, and it has been forever. But a workplace is a workplace. You know, it is what it is. You got to, yeah. If he's not as good a quality employee as someone else, and he's causing lots of havoc in the workplace. Sorry, but he's got to go. And yeah, the look of relief on his face, like, yeah, talk about uncomfortable situation. And and me mate, he was, oh, hi Jason, how are you? Completely fine with the whole idea. Yeah, it's a bit like go and piss off. I'm going to bed. Yeah, go and piss off. You're fired. Yeah, it's fine. He's not upset by it at all. Funny as.
I'll give that.
Yeah,
I'll give him
that's
that.
why it's okay to fire autistic people because they don't understand that it's
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
because they're fine with it. Yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, what would happen, like in large corporations, is there would be like HR intervening
get
because
involved. Yeah,
potentially it could be considered discrimination, right? Like against disability.
yeah. But in this, yeah, the in a bigger place, you may be able to find work situations that will make it work.
Yeah.
But he was also not a very good employee from a work productivity perspective as well, because and you just go, well, sorry, but in a small, the company was about 10 people. You can't do it. You can't
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
that work. But yeah, in a 1,000 people workplace, yeah, maybe you can make it work.
Yeah, but if he wasn't a good worker, that makes it harder for
Yeah,
them to accommodate you.
yeah, he'd like get half a job done and then get sidetracked, and then wander in and annoy someone, and then have you done this thing? Oh no, sorry, and then back he'd go, and then next thing he's get sidetracked and wander back in again. Did you do the other? No, sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's not ideal.
Nah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, he's
There's,
very
there's
hard
a,
to
ti-
keep
there's a,
on track.
yeah, there's a time and a place where having the attention span of a hummingbird on crack is a good idea. Most of
Yeah,
the time in the workplace, that's not it.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Um, as an example of how short his attention span is, um,
How
I
short
was
was
out.
it?
I was out sailing. So I own a what I don't know if you've seen a Hobie. It's a kayak, but it's got outriggers and a sail. So it's a sailing vessel, but
Okay.
also a kayak.
Yep.
So anyhow, and a two-seater, and I was out. We're out fishing, and anyhow, I'm doing most of the driving and all the rest of it. But yeah, at one point I wanted to change the hook that I had on, and so that I could put a different lure on. And I said, "Oh, just keep the boat pointed at that headland, and that will keep us. Yeah, that's all you need to do." And so he can steer from his seat and look down, cut off the hook, start to tie it, and next thing I hear fluff, 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 fluff of the sail luffing, and I look up to where the headland is, and it's the open ocean, and
Oh,
I'm like, look around, we're 90 degrees away from where I told him to keep, and you just go, Dave, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. Like, I literally didn't have enough time to tie a knot.
you
Damn.
And
had one
before he lost,
job.
he had one knot. So I'm
Why?
like, just keep it pointed at the thing. Yeah, twice. he didn't manage to do it. I'm like, oh,
I'm
yep,
sorry to say that.
sidetracked.
I'm sorry to say, but it's almost legally stupid. You know, I
And
don't
but
need that to understand.
ironically, he can jam himself into a conversation that the other person can't escape from. But
Oh wow.
it's a funny old spot. But anyhow, yeah, love the guy to bits, but he's got some issues.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. Well, I'm going to wind down here. And thanks, Craig, for staying
deplatformed a lot
on.
of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to deplatform all you guys
Yay. First time
and
ever
then
for me.
re-platform you. I think John and Steve wasn't here to have to listen in on the discussion where Hardy kept on saying that me expressing my opinion is apparently deplatforming Andrew Wilson. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
it
that
again.
happened. Yeah, I know.
Want to get
But
yeah.
yeah, thanks, Craig, for sticking on. Albania, I hope you're still around, Tuna. And thanks, guys, for showing up. And apologies again for having to skip last week. It was like over 2.5 years, maybe, of kind of uninterrupted weekly live
Yeah.
stream up until
Yeah,
then.
it
So
happens. You know, it happens.
I'm just surprised it lasted that long. But
Yeah.
Without a single
No one is more
interruption, even for
surprised than we
Christmas.
are.
yeah, yeah. It just means that I didn't have a life, or I don't have a life.
None
That's
of us have
why.
lives outside of money.
And of course, obviously, I'm joking because if I didn't have a life, I would be doing more to prepare for these things. Uh,
True
so,
that. That's true.
so I do appreciate you guys joining me on having these kind of impromptu discussions with no preparation. So, good night, Albania, and good night, everyone. And
Take care,
we'll talk
everybody.
to you next week.
All right. Be well.
Bye bye.
Good night, all.
Okay.
Challenge your beliefs, let the silence break the silence, shake the faith. Truth survives, the heart is quick. Hold to truth, no more opaque. Reason's voice, it sings so clear through fear we hear. Cut through the noise, dissolve the fear. Rise above what you revere. No more shadows dressed as truth. Light reveals what lies uncouth. No more chains disguised as proof. Reason frees the mind uncouth. Let the evidence ascend. This is fallacy's end. Scriptures written in disguise, veiling men in holy lies. Faith without a place to land, truth that crumbles when it's scanned. Show me logic carved in flame, not a God who hides in shame. Test the world and break the spell. Truth survives where falsehoods fail. Hold your beliefs, let the silence break the silence, shake the faith. Truth survives, the heart is quake. the season.